So I just got through listening to a TikTok video about a young, beautiful girl telling the story about how a man told her that her boyfriend stole her star. And when at first she didn't understand what he said, she thought that he said, "Your boyfriend stole your style." He had a thick accent. She said he was African. So she didn't understand. But it took her like a year or so, almost 2 years, to realize that he didn't say style, he said star. So she didn't say if she was still with that young man at that time. But when she finally figured out what he was saying, that he said star, not style, she looked back, I guess, and she saw certain things that allowed her to open her eyes and be willing to hear the truth about the situation. So basically what she said, someone stealing your star, is that they swap your life for theirs, your destiny for theirs, and they'll have you living their life while they're living yours. And basically this goes down without your knowledge and permission. So she was talking about how she always knew or felt that she would be a superstar or a supermodel or whatever. And she was a pretty girl. And this man that was talking to her, he said, "You're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be here. Your boyfriend stole your star." And then he said, but God told me to tell you it's not too late. Get on your knees and pray and get your star back. I thought that was so deep, and it reminded me of one particular situation that I had with this person that I had met years ago. We ran in the same circles. We used to hang out in the same group that would meet up once a week. And, he was real cool. He was real cool. I'm not going to say his name. So he was very feminine, but I don't know if he was gay. I don't think he was gay. He didn't have a boyfriend. He talked to women, and he knew how to get along with women and make friends out of women. So I used to take him home a lot, or we would go out somewhere and just chill and hang out. And every time I dropped him off at his house or wherever he wanted me to drop him off at, I felt tired and drained to the point of almost feeling sick. I felt like I was sick every last single time. So after a while, I concluded that it had to be something about him I didn't understand, because I wasn't accustomed to feeling this way. I didn't feel this way when I dropped off or hung with anybody else that I hung with. It was just him. So after some years, we fell out. He fell out with me, stopped talking to me and all that. But after some years afterwards, when I started learning about energy vampires, and when people started talking about it, and they talked about the signs that you are around a vampire or maybe even a succubus, and I remember those feelings I used to have of being drained and sick. I knew that was what it was. It was coming from him. And the thing about energy vampires is that they don't always know, or not always trying to do that. Sometimes that's just who and what they are for whatever reason, I don't know. Another thing about him is that, now I didn't have no particularly spectacular life or job or car or nothing. I didn't have none of that. I had almost nothing. But one day we were talking, he told me, this is what he said. And I was like, to myself, I said, what? I didn't say nothing to him. But to myself, I was like, what? He said, you know what? When I get in a rut or I get upset about something, I always ask myself, what would you do about it? And that's how, in other words, that's how I solved that issue. And I was like, what in the world? I didn't understand. I was like, why are you trying to figure out what would I do? And if you were in my shoes, what would I do? What? Wow. Wow. And you know what? I've always remembered the situation with him and how I felt, but I forgot about when he said that to me. And it only came up when, after listening to this young lady talk about her story concerning what this man told her about her ex that she couldn't see until like a year and a half later, concerning what had happened to her. It all made so much sense. So you not only have the energy vampires, you got succubus, you have sexual vampires. And I was listening to another lady, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. But you have the blood drinking vampires, which are said to be very rare. So I was online and I came across this video by this lady. I think her channel is called Fat Girl Freestyle. Look her up. She has some very interesting videos. And she was talking about the time when she was driving Uber, and this lady got in the car and she was just driving, and all of a sudden this lady touched her and she felt something. She felt something, and then the lady started talking to her, telling her she had good energy, and she told her who she was and what she just did. She told her that she stole her energy. She told her that there are 4 types of vampires, and New Orleans is the only place in the world where all 4 exist simultaneously. And that was the energy vampire, the sexual, good energy vampire, bad energy vampire, the sexual vampire, and then she said the actual blood-sucking vampire, which was extremely rare. So the lady said, don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you. And so she got out the car. But she was talking about how she wasn't all right after the lady left. She was talking about how she had to stop, and she kind of like fell into a time lapse or time warp. She didn't know where she was or what time it was or how long she slept. And then she could not remember what that lady looked at like. She couldn't remember what she looked like or where she dropped her off. She said she had no clue. And it just really, really scared her. And then she had a dream about, she was walking down Esplanade, which is a very popular street in the French Quarters. A very well-known street, should I say. And there was this house, and she was drawn to it, and somebody was calling her, and she couldn't see nothing. Everything was black, but all of a sudden she was lifted up off her feet, and she was being taken to that house. And she fought it, and she woke up. Y'all, energy vampires are real. You're gonna have to learn how to protect yourself. There are so many ways that you can protect yourself from energy vampires. You can use signs and symbols, amulets. There is what do you call that? What do you call it? Voodoo people use it. They draw symbols on the ground. There's a name for it, or they draw it on a piece of paper and hang it up in their room. I can't think about what the name is. Just look it up. I'm sorry. So you got to learn how to protect yourself. Like I deal with a lot of people outside in a very popular tourist attraction place, and people have energies that you pick up unknowingly, and sometimes you make that energy or that person's issues yours. So you're feeling a type of way and you don't even know why. You might be having a certain type of experience and you have no idea why, how it came about. You picked up somebody else's experience and energy, and now you live in it. So what I do is when I get to work and before I leave, I burn incense and I smoke the area before, and I smoke myself before, and I smoke my area, myself, and my cards that I work with, and my table after that. I smoke everything. And sometimes that's probably not good enough. I know another lady that I work with, my friend, she told me that you need to get some water and throw it on the area where you were sitting at so no one will mess with your energy. This energy stuff is real. I had a friend whose friend talked about how his ex-wife was a succubus. And he would wake up in the middle of the night a lot of times and she would be doing something very weird to him. And I think she was doing it while she was in his sleep. And then he talked about how he felt during, after the incidents and just in the marriage overall. And it's like he was sucked dry. She sucked him dry. Y'all, energy. I remember I had this friend years ago, and I was staying with my mom decades ago, and she was having some serious psychological issues. She was having some serious issues with her boyfriend, herself, her kids. I mean, just somebody. I have never saw somebody so messed up. And I used to take a shower. We had two bathrooms where we lived in the house. I used to take showers in hers because I just liked the way it looked. But one day I was showering and all of a sudden I looked in the back of me and I started looking around. I'm like, wait a minute, there's nobody here. There's nobody even in the house. What's going on? And I kept feeling like that every time I took a shower in her room. And one day I was coming home from work, church. My friend was giving me a ride home. And I didn't tell nobody that I had this experience in my mom's shower because I didn't know what it was. I didn't understand. She said all of a sudden before she dropped me off, she said, stop taking a shower in your mom. Stop using your mom's shower because there's a spirit in there. This is what my friend told me. She said, stop using that shower. There's a spirit in there. And the thing is, I felt it. I felt something was not right in that bathroom. So I never used it again. But people, the Most High, your angels and ancestors will send people to you with a message. I didn't know that she was gifted like that, but she had that gift came out that night because I could relate to it. You got to be careful. You got to be careful. I believe so many people in this world are living a destiny that is not theirs because another person took it. They either took it knowingly or unknowingly. Like that young man that I used to hang around with was sucking the blood out of me. He was a vampire, an energy vampire, and I was crazy about him. I loved that young man. We weren't intimate or we weren't going together. I loved him as a person, but he was a vampire to me. You cannot stay around and allow yourself to love and embrace and be enamored by somebody whom every time you leave their presence or when you're around them, you feel like you're being drained. You got to get away from them because that's how their vampirism pulled you in. They got you all enamored with them and you love them and you have a lot of compassion and you feel like you'll do anything for them. Not only is it not reciprocated, but you feel this extra drain and your energy is low and you feel sick every time you get around them and every time you just after you leave their presence. Then after that, you're okay. You better learn how to protect yourself. You better look up how to protect yourself from energy vampirism. And I was talking about the little writings and stuff that the Buddhists and other people who know how to use these symbols to protect themselves. It's called a sigil. You're gonna need to find a protection sigil. I'm gonna let you got amulets. You're gonna have to learn how to put on your protection before you leave out, and ask your energies around you, the positive energies like your angels, to protect you while you're out, because it is really spiritually dangerous out there. Can you imagine that you had this wonderful destiny, this great destiny that you had going for you, and somebody came and stole it? This stuff is real. It's real, and I experienced it. And the thing about me is she made me really, really think about my life. People would look at me, and they do it all the time. They still do, and be like, you're not supposed, why are you here? You still there? They be looking at me like, that's what they be saying. They like, that's why I don't understand, because I see you trying. They just looking at, like, what's wrong? I feel that happened to me. So I'm going to start praying myself so I can get on the path that I'm supposed to be and be living the life that I'm supposed to be living, even though I'm up there in age. It's not too late. It's not too late for me. I'm going to try to get my destiny back, because I feel somebody stole it along the way. Thank you so much for listening to this video. Please like and share. I love y'all. Be safe out there.